Greetings and welcome, dear viewers, TTRPG fans and enthusiasts, to Legitcast episode 11. It's all about RxOliver. Before I get to introduce my good friend, one of my favorite people that I've ever met online, some quick announcements. First of all, the Legitcast series is back. What began in February 2025 as a podcast with other ZinQuest creators now continues and expands, broadens its borders, should I say, and now we welcome as guest people throughout the whole TTRPG industry, whether you are a publisher, a content creator, a game designer, whatever the case may be, you are most welcome. The second big news that we have and announcements is that this whole week is a week of sales in metanthropes.com. Everything, all our products, VTT modules, bundles, hardcover, beautiful zines that are with a 20% discount. So make sure to check everything that's going on there. And now, without further ado, RxOliver, welcome, my friend. How are you today?
Thank you for having me on, John. I'm well, mate. I'm well. Yes, thank you very much. I'm excited for this.
Always a pleasure to spend time with you online, whether we be playing sessions or having talks such as this one.
Always, mate, always. The last time together we played was very, very fun. You're a psychopath and my murder hobo.
Yeah. That was a fun adventure. And I'm also looking forward when you complete this tour of meeting people that you've met through your channel in real life. When you come to Greece, you're most welcomed. We will go to the beach. We will hang out. I can't wait when that happens. It's gonna be amazing.
When, not if, when. Yeah, it's very high up on the list, John. Very high up on the list.
Super cool. So, Oliver, for those that do not know you, you have a very blossoming YouTube channel that's full of actual plays. Some of them you can see over here in the slideshow, some of the thumbnails. You are getting very close to 1,000 subscribers, which is quite a lot in our very niche industry. And I would like to start to hear from you about your journey. What was the thought process when you started this channel? How the insights that you may have, and all about the community that you're building. Let's start about the history, the early humble beginnings.
Okay. So the very beginnings of the RxOliver TTRPG actual play channel would be I started out on Twitch streaming everything. So just variety streaming with my friends during lockdown 2020 or whatever it was. And my D&D games was part of what I was streaming. I put my D&D games on Twitch. I put unedited videos on YouTube. I then fixed them later, but I forgot about them for a while and was just on Twitch and was streaming everything. And my journey on Twitch kind of changed. I stopped streaming games and just was streaming TTRPGs. And then I moved location and I couldn't really stream to Twitch because I didn't have the upload speed on my internet. So then I moved to recording things and just putting them on YouTube. So then YouTube became the focus, and it has been since. And it all started with Dungeons and Dragons, an advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition game. And then we did some Call of Cthulhu one-shots. And then we started another D&D campaign, and then another thing, and another thing, and another thing. And now we have, I don't know, about 14 campaigns and over 50 one-shots recorded. And that's 4 years or something we've done it. So yeah, just all the games, like 90%, I guess, of what I play, or 80% maybe of what I play is recorded for YouTube. So just my life in games, in one-shots and campaigns I've put on YouTube for the last few years. And it's been an awesome, fun journey. I never thought I'd have 900 subscribers. That's amazing.
Yeah, getting very close to 1,000. I remember it was like, I think yesterday that you were closer to, last year, not yesterday, last year that you were close to 500. So it's really starting to blossom.
I saw on a memory on Facebook or something, it was August, I was on 666. And we're in May now at 900. I've just hit 900 in May. So it's going well. I'm pretty sure if touch wood, if things keep going at the rate, I'll hit 1,000 this year, I think.
Yeah. That's definitely mark. And also,
Hopefully,
you're
fingers
one of the
crossed.
most consistent when it comes to your uploads, content creator basically that maybe ever seen. Like how many episodes TTRPG actual plays per week do you reckon you upload?
2 to 3 a week on average. Sometimes more, sometimes less, but 2 to 3, maybe three would probably be the average number. 3 a week, I think.
Have you been playing online prior to the COVID situation?
Yeah, so I've been playing online
Okay.
for quite a number of years. I guess probably 15 years I've been doing it online.
Okay, with
Playing
what? With
D&D
Skype and stuff. Like 15 years ago, the
through
technology
through
wasn't
Discord,
there.
actually. No,
Okay.
well,
Wow.
not what before Discord. What did we use? I don't even remember what we used before Discord.
I
Probably
guess Skype.
Skype.
Yeah, probably Skype must
Yeah,
have been.
probably. I've been on Discord for a number of years. I've played with groups in America when I was in Europe and having to play it like starting at midnight or starting at 2 in the morning and finishing
know.
at 6 in the morning. I've played some mad hours to play some online games. Now I'm very lucky that I've built my own online community and I pick and choose the game times and then I pull the players in for that time. I don't have to go play mad times anymore. But yeah, I've been playing online for a number of years. Still play in person also, but online for a good while too.
Oh, we'll get to all of that, the online and the community stuff. But okay, how come you were playing? Like, let's say for most people, the actual rise, the golden era of playing online began after COVID for obvious reasons. How come you were playing before that? Was it like what's the story behind that? Yeah.
To play, because the only real edition I knew of D&D like 10, 15 years ago was second edition AD&D. And to get people to play that with, I couldn't find like locally or anything. So it was an online thing. It was always an online thing. And I've played with some people that I know for a long time online for more than 10 years, and I'm still playing with the same people. And yeah, it was to get a game initially because the in-person group fell apart and we weren't getting games going, so I wanted to keep playing, so I found games online and I have been online playing ever since. So a long time. I've had hundreds of games online, thousands of hours, thousands.
Oh wow. And you mentioned now that you have your own community. Um, do you have like any numbers? How many they are? Like on your Discord or something?
Yeah, there's over 600 people in Discord. That's not all built around my YouTube game, so people watching that, and that's not my YouTube audience in Discord. Mostly, I try to bring as many people from Discord over to watch on YouTube as I can, with gentle promotions, of course, giving them a little nudge every day or every now and again. But yeah, it's a server where there are multiple games, so games every day of the week. People playing D&D and Call of Cthulhu and all the other systems. Only a certain number of which I'm involved in. There's lots of games I'm not involved in. So I've built it up to be used by everybody. There's also play-by-post games, people playing in play-by-post games. We've had that for a number of years and it's been popular. So yeah, we have quite a big community of TTRPG players on Discord, and it's been going for a couple of years now. It's changed and evolved over the years, but that's where I organize all the games that we do online and all the stuff we do for YouTube. It's all organized through there. It's all done through Discord these days.
Yeah, that's how I get to meet you online as opposed to and organize our stuff.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I guess I suppose we all start from a small number, so over 500 people on any Discord server is quite a lot, and I'm like member of 100 Discord servers or something for research purposes or for community. I suppose you are at the state now at the level where you're not the only GM running games in your own community. Like you must have multiple, right?
Multiple. Shout out to all the people that are running games. Shout out to Max, Brian, who run games that don't never see the light of YouTube. There's lots of stuff going on that other people don't see. There's a Vampire the Masquerade game going on right now every Monday night in Discord. There's guys
Right
playing
now? Oh, cool.
Vampire the Masquerade. Right now, the guys are playing Vampire the Masquerade in Discord. They're on about session 19 or 20. Shout out to those guys. Yeah, we've got a very cool server where lots of fun stuff's happening. People are playing games all the time.
Do you
And
have
yeah, I've
any
got a nice community for it. It's a nice place to organize stuff and keep things.
Do you have any advice, like insight or so, to someone who wants to build slowly and steadily a community like you have?
Advice for someone else? No, don't do anything like I do it, because I do everything that unorthodox way and like probably not a very common sense way. I don't know if I've got any advice for anyone else doing it. Have fun. That's the main advice. It's the hobby we're doing. That is the main point of it, or of any hobby, is to have fun, and people are attracted to that, and if it'll build naturally. If you're having fun, if people are having fun, that'll attract other people. So if you want to build a community, just be fun, have fun. It's the most important thing, always has been. You're playing games, just make it as much fun as you can. If you build it, they will come.
Nice. This is actually pretty solid advice. So let's get into the meat and potato of things, the topic that everyone on chat and our both communities have been waiting to hear. It's the good old debate, the primordial battle between playing online and playing in person. We've discussed this between ourselves. I've heard your opinions before, but I would like to revisit this topic and maybe dig a little deeper. So for you, Oliver, which one do you prefer, playing online or playing in person?
See, when you word it like that, you make it a more difficult question for me, John, when you say which one do you prefer, because I can't give you a favourite for a number of reasons. Because yes, you cannot quite replicate the feeling of doing it round a real table with people face to face, especially when you get a nice group. Like, I'm very lucky to have in my in-person groups, really fun groups, and there's snacks and drinks and that real sound of the clatter of the dice on the table. Everyone always says it's cliche. It's very cliche, but cliches are there for a reason, because they're true. And you can't replicate playing with people in person. Can't quite, but it's close with online gaming, because you get the digitally enhanced sounds of the dice rolling on the table, and it's literally got just about everything. Now, we play on cam, we see each other's reactions. I think the whole point of playing online, and the best online game, is the one that gets as close as possible to doing it in person. The amount of things you get, so if you've got a map, and if you've got tokens, and then if you've got dice, and if you can see the people, the more elements you add to your online game that make it replicate, or as close to replicating an in-person game, the better. But I still can't say that in-person gaming is my favorite over online, because if it wasn't for online gaming, and this was my same answers before, I wouldn't play 90%, 95% of the times that I play. So like I would only play 1 or 2 games a month if it wasn't for my online gaming. I have 2 in-person groups, and between the two of them, we'll play 1, 2, or 3 times a month. And that would be it if it wasn't for online gaming. But with online gaming, I play average 3 times a week. So
I think that's the big defining factor, that not only the
flexibility.
volume of sessions, like how many you play per week, per month, but the chance to get to play with players that you would never had the chance before. You mentioned playing with people over in the US. I get the chance to play with you and with Chris and all the other guys, which, they're not in Greece, obviously. And so wherever you are, if you have a decent amount of internet connection, a decent microphone and camera, you can basically play any system you want with any type of group you want. Like, the possibilities are completely endless. And this was not something that I suppose neither of us had when we were growing up, when we were basically defined and confined by the 5 people. I don't know what was the case for you,
around.
whether it was like on the fantasy soap, local gaming soap, which you would meet it was very, maybe, like a shout out to the Dragon Phoenix Inn, was a place here in Greece, which introduced me, like opened a bit my horizons, and the 5 became like something like a community of 50, and it was like a gaming shop that you can had like special dungeon rooms for Dungeons and Dragons, and I played the whole Transylvania Vampire Chronicles there, and
Nice.
but it pales in comparison with what you can do with people online. And
The amount of games that are possible, the amount of people you can play with, the diversity of the systems. Like if you've got an in-person group, you might really struggle to get them to play. If you want to play a different system, a new system, it might be really hard to get your group to do that. Or your in-person group might play 3, 4 systems, 5 systems in your whole time playing with them, because if you do a campaign, it lasts a long time and you only play 2 or 3 times a month at most or whatever. So I just, without online gaming, we wouldn't be friends. We wouldn't have met each other and had the chance to game together. So online gaming just gives you so much opportunity to game. I would even think almost, John, that I would say that online gaming is better because, controversial, I think, opinion, but because it gives you so much chance to play and diversifies the amount of games you can play and the people you can play with. I would almost say that online game, I'll commit. Online gaming is better because of you get to do so much of it. For that reason, online gaming is better, I think.
I would have to agree personally. But let's throw a little bit more cons and pros just to be like the devil's advocate. Let's start with the
Of course.
con, which is technical difficulties / lag. So, they're there. Most in your experience, and you have much more than I have on playing online. Like almost every game has some sort of technical difficulties, or it depends basically on the computer of the player or something, and it can be avoided.
95% of the time. 95% of the time, there's somebody got some technical problem. Yeah, it's very rare that you do a whole 3 hours or 4 hours of gaming online with people in different parts of the world and nobody has any kind of internet or hardware or something issue. It's very, very, very rare.
Yes, that's definitely like the reality of it. But theoretically, with the progress of technology and better, more accessible internet connections, these problems will start to evaporate or something, vanish.
Well, you can when you get the right equipment, like if you get fast enough internet and you get a good enough computer, once you meet enough people that are set up like that, you can have a really good group for online gaming. You see, I wouldn't have the YouTube channel that I have if it wasn't for people that are able to do that. You've seen that what I'm able to produce with people, and it's live. 90% of my production's done live.
Yeah.
So it can. It's to a good standard these days, and your average person with a PC can have a really good gaming experience. Absolutely, yeah. It's accessible. I don't think you need any real fancy equipment to do it. A basic laptop does it. A lot of us have more than that, but it can be done with a very basic laptop and a very basic webcam. You can even use your mobile phone as a really good webcam these days. So I think the high quality of online gaming is accessible to most people. Most people have the internet speed that you need these days.
Let's throw then a pro now. Automation. So depending on the crunchiness of the system you play, I think VTTs can really save you a lot of actual time, so you can focus on the roleplay and on the fun parts, and not of calculating +2 modifier, -1 from this one, disadvantage, advantage, and maybe in a D6 super simple system, it's not really much. But the more crunchy you get, this becomes like a necessity, up to the point which I feel like even when you find people that you play in person, you might still want to have a laptop running the calculations for you or something.
Rules and stuff. And I have played with people in that in-person group who have a laptop and do that.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect example for you, John. I play and still do Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Second Edition, the famous Thaco. The famous Thaco. But when you have a VTT, you don't have to worry about Thaco because the VTT does all that maths for you, all that stupid maths that Thaco is famous for. VTT does it and says, you hit this.
True.
So yeah, it takes away that famous thing, and it's meme famous Thaco. Like people going, oh, not AD&D Second Edition, that's Thaco. It's famous for how convoluted the maths is. But you don't have to bother with that once you get on a VTT, and that made my time playing AD&D much easier, getting it onto a VTT and having that do the maths for you. Oh hell yeah!
Yeah,
Big thing.
that's a big thing. That's a
Automation.
big pro. I would like to throw in another negative, another con. When you're playing online, when you're playing in person, usually almost every time I sit on the GM seat, and it is possible to talk with one player and two other players have an in-game conversation, maybe like a soft topic, not like the most defining moment of their lives. So you can have like multiple scenes at the same time and you can follow them. There's no, when you have microphones on, you cannot speak one on top of another because basically you won't be able to hear neither. So I sometimes miss that some of my players want to
And
talk while I'm talking with someone else. Have like multiple conversations at the same time.
Yeah, and I guess you're losing an element of realism because that's how conversations happen in real life. If there's a group of 5, 6, 7 people, you will have 2 or 3 people having one conversation and a couple of people having another conversation at the same time. But you'll not see that with 5, 6, 7 people who have got microphones looking at each other. They'll all take turns speaking. Yeah, you're losing an element of realism, I suppose, from that. Yeah.
Yet I found a trick to kind of remedy this situation. It's a very recent trick, which I'm doing with a group I'm playing on Thursdays. You can use like the chat of the VTT or Discord to say, like with brackets or whatnot, an in-game message. Like, for example, my character is looking around to find a brewery. You don't need to disturb the flow of the roleplay of the narrator to say that with your microphone and your voice. You can just type it, enter, and it's there. It's in game. I don't know if you ever tried, this like as a trick.
Yeah, no, I'll use this, and I know friends who I play with. We do this. You'll type something. Say I'm like, oh, so I want to go search that cabinet and see what's in it. And the other 2 people, they're healing, or the other 3 people, they're healing somebody who's wounded and dying. They'll all be talking about that and discussing that, and the GM could just type in the thing, oh, you find a box of cereal and some cutlery. And he can continue talking to them, do his thing with them, and that just pops up in the chat, and you can just read it, and you're right, okay. And you can type, right, I searched the next cupboard, GM types, there's nothing in there. And you can do that in the little chat box while that whole conversation is going on. I've done that. Yeah, it's very useful.
Yeah, or
very
like,
useful.
have like you want to tell your GM your character's feelings at the moment. You can use like asterisk at the end of and like having on italics, and then describe in depth your thoughts without disturbing the flow of narration. I think these tricks are pretty cool, and they make the sessions run smoother in the end.
And VTTs have functions built around it, like where you can whisper to the GM and where you can whisper from one player to another so other players don't see it, and you can have private conversations. That's all built into VTTs these days.
Yeah, let's give the VTTs a little bit more and give them another pro to balance things out. Is like things like, let's say one of my characters has scene visibility. You, as the GM, can introduce a token that's invisible, and the other players won't be able to see it, while this one who has invisibility will be seeing it, and it's like super immersive because they will all be watching the same map, and only one of them will be watching something invisible. You cannot really do that with the physical tabletop board,
Absolutely. Even what you can do with like dynamic lighting so that you can light up this room for that person, but not everybody else because they're not in it. You can't, yeah. Once you open that map up around that table in front of those people, everybody can see what's there unless you, right, 3 of you leave the room for 5 minutes, right, come back in, right, leave again, come back in. You're not going to do that. So yeah, VTTs can give you some elements of surprise and secrecy and hidden layers and stuff that you can't really do with an in-person group. Very good point, John.
Yeah, I think
Come on,
we're
the
kind of
VTTs.
scratching the surface. There are some channels like Mullinet. I don't know if you follow. It's like a Foundry VTT based channel, which is all about using tricks and technology to increase your narrative like that. And they're talking in general, not like specific like the ones we're talking. And they introduce like new Foundry technologies. But I think with all the stuff coming, we're basically scratching the surface to what can online VTT playstyle can be, and I think it's a fascinating time.
I think there's 101 little things on VTTs that you don't get in your IRL games, and that's things like, what's the word? Oh, I totally had a dynamic. That's the word for something that's moving, like a dynamic initiative counter, like your initiative counter moving when it's different people's turns, and then from that it gets even greater, like we've seen with Metanthropes and the plugins for Foundry VTT, with like your turn flashing up on screen, things like that. You can have it so the VTT tells you, oh, your turn's coming up next. There's lots of little things that are there that you don't get. Or it's in the automation as well. I'm thinking about things that are featured in a VTT, and the automation's a big one for me. Like when you need to re-roll something, and it's just got a button that says re-roll, and all the maths is done. But that's back to automation. It's the same point you made earlier.
Yeah, but automations can expand, like to help new players understand a system, and also GMs avoid making mistakes. For example, like having eligible targets. Let's say that you have like a blade that only cuts, orc and does 2d6 damage only to orcs, and everybody knows what an orc is. Maybe like something more discreet, something like to only ghosts, and then it will automatically trigger those extra 2d6, and then you may be like, oh, it was a ghost. I thought it was something else. And all these eligible target things. It's pretty cool. And these are among the stuff that is scratching the surface. And I think like in a year's time, these things are progressing fast. It's gonna be even more fun and even more immersive to play online.
It is. I saw, and it's a VTT that I own but don't use, just because there's the worst learning curve, or because it's just something I've never been good at. It's like Minecraft, but it's called Tailspire VTT, and it's all 3D with building blocks. Someone made Diamond City for Fallout, and it was a thing of beauty. It was amazing. You need to check that out, John. Diamond City,
so it's
Tailspire
like
VTT.
Tailspire, but for Fallout.
Yeah. Someone had built Diamond City in Tailspire, so you could play your Fallout RPG with a fully 3D that you can move around in Diamond City. Oh, it was just very cool.
I would like to see that.
Once that gets a bit easier, like building things in that, then because then I would be doing it if it gets a bit easier. Yeah, that's amazing what you can do with the 3D VTT map building stuff now with different layers, and it's 3D. You can go inside the buildings, and you can take different layers of ceiling off to show different layers and things. But yeah, it's one that I've owned for a few years now. Not really managed to do anything with yet because it seems a bit clever for me, but it's a very cool one.
Do you think it might like hurt, if not like kill the immersion and the theater of mind, where players will be too reliant to what they see in the VTT and they won't be using their imagination much?
Yes and no. Yes, for some people, but then I think for some people, and it's a lot of people don't have the best imaginations, and visual aids are good for them. Like I wouldn't say I've got the best imagination. I like a good visual aid, like so for people like me, I think it's really good. The more the more I can see visually, the more maps and stuff, the more immersed I am. Because maybe I don't think I do have the best imagination, and my theatre of the mind isn't quite so good as what you can do with the virtual tabletop, I think.
I like to say to my players always that no matter how much VTT you're using, playing TTRPGs is always about theater of mind. So yes, we will use it for tactical measuring distance, using cover, but never fully rely on what you see on the VTT. Even if you have like custom maps that are made exactly for the scene that you wanted, and this is like doesn't apply for everyone because not everyone can buy like a custom map for them or create on a map creator. Most cases, you buy like you find a map online and maybe there's like a strange tabard with red and gold sigil, and your player says, "What is this sigil?" You can say, "This is what we see, but basically it's
not
a
really
black
there,
and it has a
yeah.
skull, and it's because I don't have any organization that's gold and red, for example." So always theater of mind comes top, and then all the visual aids come second. That's at least what I would say. Or maybe
For
you
me
can.
as a GM,
Sorry.
for me as a GM, I like to have as much VTT as possible because I don't think that I'm the most descriptively creative when I'm telling people about the dungeon. I don't think I've got the best descriptive language. I'd much rather show them something that some artist that's much more talented than me has made. So I've quite often find myself doing kind of the opposite of what you're saying there. When you have a map that doesn't quite fit your scenario, I will find myself changing elements of the scenario to work with the map sometimes, but just because it's going to make a more immersive visual VTT. I've done that from time to time, yeah.
So that's actually find very interesting. So let's go back to the example that there is a sigil with the red and gold colors that do not apply for any organization or faction that you had thought of up to this point. So now you say, instead of changing it in game, you'll find something that's behind it. And maybe this actually is very interesting because it might create new narrative pathways, and
absolutely, yeah,
it works your imagination even more. It's fascinating, yeah.
I find myself I do that quite a lot actually, John. If I think about it, one of the main things I'll do when I'm thinking about a scenario, and I've wrote a few scenarios recently, I've been doing stuff with Fallout, is I'll have a rough idea in my head, and then I'll have a look at maps. The second thing I'll do is look at maps, and then I'll find something that I can work with, and then I might start to change some elements about it to work with that map. And then I think you end up with the most visually best representation you can of where things are going on and what's going on. And it works for me. I like that. Theatre of the mind is important, but I don't think I can give people the best descriptive language sometimes. So I like to have a nice, good visual aid.
Yeah, it's like a great equalizer. Yeah, having like I feel so too. I don't think that like the descriptions of an area is my strong point, especially in English. It wasn't even when I'm narrating in Greek. So fully utilizing what the players see in game and maybe actually creating narrative pathways according to the map. I think it's a very fresh take into narration in general. I find it interesting.
You could say it's a lazy way to do it. Everything I do is a lazy way, John. I always find the easiest way to do things. It's the easy way to do it.
It's still, give me like the laziest way, and I will, no, it works. It works.
Some very famous rich person said that, I think it might have been Bill Gates, something about he would always hire a lazy person because they'll find the most efficient way to do something.
I think it was Einstein, actually.
Or Einstein, or someone very famous and very smart, yeah.
Yeah, who said like, I tried to quote that before, but I wasn't quite sure as well. But I think it was Einstein who said like something along those lines, like always find the lazy person to give you like the optimal, fastest way to do it.
If you want to know the easy way to do things, ask me. Oh, how do you do that, Oliver? How do you do such and such on your videos? I'll show you the easy, like the shortcut way to do things. Because that's the way it is with me. I try. I'm not that smart with. I'm not that smart artistically, John. I'm not an artist. So when I do things
No,
like video
no, you
editing, I have
definitely
to find
have
the easy
some
way to do it.
artistry levels, definitely. I think all TTRPGers
Oh.
do have. No, I don't know if you ever had
Yeah,
any.
yeah, to a certain extent.
Yeah, do you have any virtual reality experience? Have you played a video game or something in an Oculus or VR?
Only a little bit. Only a couple of brief shots at it. A couple of
Can you
times.
ever
Very weird.
see TTRPGs being played this way?
Yes, and what I think, if they got it right, what a very cool thing it could be. Can you imagine walking into a tavern, but you're actually walking into the tavern, you look around, there's an orc over there and a goblin over there. Yeah, like if you could go over and you can talk to them, and yeah, like if they got it right, yeah. Imagine just like a rune quest. Is it rune quest or RuneScape? I always forget.
Or,
RuneScape's the video
or
game.
like,
Rune quest
or
is the
like,
RPG. The
imagine
video game one. Imagine something like that, walking around with your sword, and yeah, I think it could be very
like
awesome.
even the map of your Tailspire example, for example, that you used earlier. If you could be like, yeah, this is like a step like behind it, but yeah, the full VR experience would be to actually be in the tavern, look left, look right, see around the table the other characters with the 3D token they have chosen, and they would
I'm
see where they
almost
see.
sure. I'm almost sure they're working on it, John. Almost sure that if it's not like
Yeah,
if somebody's not working on it, it's in the planning
I
stages. It's got
think
to be
the
happening.
problem would be that still people have this, like there's this I get dizzy myth around VR. Maybe it's not actually a myth. Maybe it actually applies for many people. I shouldn't call it a myth, but it's like many people have it on their mind that VR is not something that you can really spend easily 4 hours playing. So maybe it won't be easy to have like a 4 hour session with the goggles on. I'm not sure. I never tried. I never played for more than an hour or something.
I haven't played for more than 10, 15 minutes, I don't think. Yeah, I guess maybe they would get very uncomfortable after a while. Saying that, we're quite used to having big headsets on for 3-4 hours. I don't think it's going to be much worse.
It's not like the weight and the uncomfortability of your body is like the dizziness of your mind in being in a full
I think
full different environment all the time. Maybe
that would
not.
take some getting used to. My first time playing was the strangest experience. When I was standing up, I was like leaning forward and like almost falling over. Like my sense of balance was way off. Like it's a weird experience that I think would take me some getting used to. But I would be all for it. I'd be all for trying it. Virtual reality TTRPG. I'll be the
Yeah, I
first to
think
try it.
we're not quite there yet, but I think it will eventually come, and it's gonna interesting. It's a brave new world out there. So let's change gears. I'm seeing on the slideshow next to me a lot of Star Wars and Fallout references. My next and maybe final question, so we'll see how it goes, that I have is like how it is to play on established franchises and universes. My concern as a GM, because I always see things on the point of the seat of the narrator or the GM, how do you really tell a story that's been told? I guess you can go to unexplored corners or different time periods, but how do you do it? Let's say for your Star Wars or your Fallout or any established franchise, how do you work around that?
So I can't answer the question very well for Star Wars because I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. I'm along for the ride on that one. I'm not been the GM of any of the 3 campaigns so far. I don't know Star Wars lore well enough, and I couldn't do it in that franchise. Fallout, I do, because I love Fallout. I've played a lot of Fallout since I was a teenager, from 1 and 2.
Yes.
And you just have to. I think you just have to have a real love for that franchise, for that IP, to know it fairly well. Yeah, I think you just have to be a great fan of it. I don't have any problem running games in Fallout. In fact, I've found it quite easy to write my own scenarios for Fallout RPG. So I've only ever homebrewed before some stuff for AD&D, and that's in 15 years, more than that, of running games, of being a GM. That had been the only thing I'd homebrewed until recently, and I did some stuff for Fallout, a few different adventures, and I wrote them, and they all went really well with the groups. So that's an established IP, an established franchise with things that exist and lore that exists, and I found it quite easy to put things on that. So yeah, I think you just have to have a love for it, a great love for it, and respect it as well. When I'm thinking about stuff for Fallout, I'm very conscious of the lore and the way things work, and I don't want to make things that aren't silly seem silly, and things that are scary should stay scary. And you have to have a love for it and a respect for it, and stay true to the feeling and to the vibe of the lore. I think.
Okay,
Just have to be a great fan of it and be true to it.
let's talk about your Fallout campaign. Which time period did you choose? Like in between which games, I suppose, is a question.
So it's right around the time of Fallout 4 and in the area of Fallout 4.
Like
The
after
first one we
Fallout
did was
4? Or did you like
no,
purposely
based,
go to
based,
uncharted
based,
territories? Or
based before Fallout 4. So Fallout 4 hasn't happened, but I've continued to line it the timeline past where Fallout 4 has happened. We've actually even seen Vault 111 since. But it's based right around the time of we've got several games on the timeline now, so it's a little bit all over the place, but it's right around the time of Fallout 4, and most of them, all the ones I've ran so far are based in the Commonwealth. So we started with Once Upon a Time in the Wasteland, which is the starter set, and then we did is it A Ghoulish Problem it's called, I think, and that's the one from the back of the core rulebook. And then we started doing more and more, and we moved on to Winter of Atom. Winter of Atom is a big campaign also set around the time of Fallout 4. And I've got two other groups. I've got three groups running on this timeline now. Two of them doing one shots, some of them based around Diamond City, one group based around Diamond City, another group based in another place, and then we've got the main Winter of Atom group. So I'm running three groups on the same timeline now, and I'm finding it quite fun. It's really cool. So the things that the one group does will affect other ones in the future if they go to that settlement and things.
oh, so in the different periods of time, those three groups.
Yeah. Well, no, two of them are kind of right at the same time just now. One of them, so like first game is here, second game was here, then there's another game here, but then we've played one here, and we've been back in the timeline to different places, and now we've got two groups here and one that's like here that's just about to catch up with them. So there's currently two groups in the same area at the same time as well, but slightly not quite in the same place, but things that they do are affecting each other. It all started when we had there's four people in my Winter of Atom campaign. In 1 week, one of the players couldn't make it. So we had an adventure with three players, and they had left Diamond City and went to another place. And then for that fourth player catching up, I was like, oh, I'm going to write a little one-person adventure. So I wrote this idea down for him to do me and him to record it, to do like episode 3.5 of him catching up. But I ended up with this whole scenario I had wrote, so I got three other players and we did a one-shot out of it. But then I had these three other guys who wanted to play more one-shots. So he had caught up with this group, and these guys, well, we had actually had one of them gave one of them gave the robot who was the missing player a holotape, and he's supposed to give it to one of the other PCs in the main group. So this holotape's going to have things on it from an NPC, and the NPC was originally from the first campaign, so XPCs are now NPCs, and everybody's interacting with each other. Hard to explain. It'll all pan out in the end. If you watch it, it'll all make sense. It's very hard to explain.
I really find it fascinating, the idea that the group that plays in the past can basically create the history that the more modern, futuristic, let's say, groups are getting to know. So like, I had a question before you explain this amazing thing you just explained. about like the basics of taking an established franchise. Okay, let's say that there is a okay, let's say you said, you mentioned that you played the beginning of Fallout 4, and let's say that there is an NPC that you know that survives Fallout 4. Okay, basically you must give them a plot armor because they are not meant to die, right? How do you deal with this sort of problem, if you find a
People
problem at
like
all?
people like Preston Garvey and Travis Miles, the radio DJ of. I give them plot armor, and I want them to be around because they're around from the start to finish of Fallout 4, and we're playing at the time of Fallout 4, and I'm using Fallout 4 to put in little Easter eggs to make it really feel like around that time in the Commonwealth. In fact, I've just wrote another little one shot, and it's going to have the best little Easter egg. I don't want to say anything because it's not been done yet, but the best little Easter egg, which is I've basically dropped in as a side quest for these guys. I basically dropped in one of the early quests from Fallout 4, just literally pasted a Fallout 4 quest into the TTRPG. I'm trying to make it feel as much like Fallout 4 as possible because it's that era and that place. So the Brotherhoods are what they are in that area. There's no NCR or Legion, it's the Commonwealth, and I'm leaning into it as much as I can and loving it.
It is fascinating, all those stuff. But you gotta give some plot armor once in a while to some NPCs, right?
There are certain, yeah, sorry, that was your initial question. So people that were vital in Fallout 4, as like quest givers and stuff, I've kept them in my game and gave them the plot armor, so they will be around, yes. Absolutely. Certain people have plot, they exist. I've made a point of making these key NPCs from Fallout 4 part of my living, breathing Commonwealth to make it feel as Fallout as possible, and I have to give them plot armor. To a certain extent, I mean, it's my own version of Fallout, so you know, it's not canon. So if Preston Garvey dies or Arturo Rodriguez dies because my PCs do something crazy, then he'll die. They'll have plot armor up to a certain extent.
Interesting. So like a
I'll not put them in
divergent
harm's way.
timeline of sorts.
Yeah. Like I'll not put them in harm's way. But then if something mad happens and they die, then that's my Fallout timeline. Yeah, they die. That's the Fallout that I'm doing.
For some reason, what comes to my mind is like when Baldur's Gate 1 introduced Drizzy Duorden, and everybody wanted to kill Drizzy
Everybody
Duorden.
tried to kill him. Yeah.
Everybody
tried to kill him.
To get those swords, you know.
Absolutely. Guilty, John. Guilty. I tried to kill Drizzt so many times. It's so hard. Get those swords, yeah. Hell yeah, I tried that.
All right, start.
And
yeah.
Notice I don't know if you played Baldur's Gate 3 or not, but they continued
No
that trend
spoilers
of
to 3.
bringing
Sorry, I
in...
haven't played it, but I'm really want to play at one point. So sorry, no spoilers. I don't know anything.
No spoilers. I don't think it's a spoiler, but they continue the trend of bringing in famous Forgotten Realms characters into the game.
Cool.
I'll not tell you who, but
yeah,
they continue doing it in the new one. It's awesome.
Okay, well, I will try to kill that character too when I found it. At some point, I want to start Baldur's Gate 3, but haven't had the time. But it's something maybe I would like to stream. You know, like new player, no spoilers, first time experience, stream everything. But we're in the discussion to starting with some players, maybe with my bro. We'll see. It will happen one day. Thankfully, so far, I've been avoiding all the spoilers. Don't know anything, and I want to keep it that way.
Well done.
Yeah, keep it that way. So to wrap things up, what are your next goals about your channel, about your community, about the sessions and systems you would like to play more, discover new ones?
So I've got some immediate goals. The short-term ones being 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's top of the list. I want to hit that 1,000. It's a key number on your journey in YouTube. And that's coming soon. I can feel it. It's coming soon. In terms of what we're doing on it and what games we're producing on it, I want to finish the Winter of Atom with 2 side groups having done lots of stuff as well. I'm going to have created this 50+ episode Commonwealth Stories thing. I'm creating a big thing. And when I've done that, my main priority is to complete the AD&D campaign that I started with. So the very first campaign that I started with 4 years ago has been on hiatus for quite a number of months now, and I've been concentrating on Fallout. When I finish Fallout, I'm going back to that AD&D game, and I'm going to fully concentrate on that until it's finished. We've played 68 sessions, and I reckon it's probably going to be around 100 by the time we finish the campaign. But my main focus is to finish the Winter of Atom and then finish that. And then I'm not sure. There's lots of little bits and pieces in between it. Those are my two big ones in terms of the videos that I'm producing.
What is the longest campaign you've ever played of any game, but just in numbers of sessions? Personally, I haven't crossed over 100 before. I think like my biggest was 100, and we stopped on the 100th session with an epic finale or so. But some people, like, I've seen a channel or an Instagram profile, whatever it is, that has like, we've been playing the same campaign for 35 years. There must be like...
Yeah, I've seen it. So there are 3 that are a lot. There's 3 over 50.
Okay.
So our first Bushido campaign, which has been running for about 2 years now, is just played session 50. So that's going into session 51. My Call of Cthulhu, well, it's Pulp Cthulhu IRL campaign. We started out in a homebrew thing, and then we've done 3 full chapters of Masks of Nyarlathotep. I reckon it's 50 plus. I reckon it's more like 50. I reckon it's about 55, 60 sessions, and then that AD&D game, that original one that I've been running, that's played 68 sessions.
Yeah.
That's my top 3.
Nice, very, very, very nice. I wish you to all of them reach 100 and stack up those session numbers. All right.
I think if any of my games ever do reach 100, those 3 will. I think those are the 3 that will make it to 100, actually.
That would be super dope. Wish you all the best. 100 sessions, 1,000 subs, and the sky's the limit. RxOliver, it has been a pleasure talking with you, picking your brain, talking about TTRPGs. Very much looking forward to the next one shot or so that we're gonna join forces once again to see what sort of psychopaths we're gonna play next time.
Thank you very much for having me on, John. It's a pleasure to be on your channel. As always, I love to be here. You're a good friend. I love everything you're doing with Metanthropes RPG. You and QP, you're a pair of legends. We made an amazing series for my channel with Metanthropes. It's one of my favorites. So yeah, thanks. It's always a pleasure. Hopefully we'll be back soon.
We will, most definitely. Thank you so much for the kind words. QP is out there sending love, and
love QP.
Thank you so much. Stay tuned
QP.
for more legit episodes, and above all, stay legit and stay meta.